On behalf of Vivekananda Study Circle IIT Madras, welcome everyone to our special lecture on the power of Viveka, Young Seeker's Perspective, delivered by the Revered Swami Atmashraddhananda Ji Maharaj. We would like to thank the speaker for accepting our invitation. We are indeed very delighted to have him with us. I shall take the privilege to briefly introduce today's speaker.
Hi,
Swami
Dhirendra.
Atmashraddhananda Ji is a monastic member of Sri Ramakrishna Math and Mission. Presently, the Adhyaksha of Sri Ramakrishna Mission Ashrama, Kanpur. He has served as the editor of the Vedanta Kesari, a spiritual monthly magazine of Sri Ramakrishna Math, Mylapore, Chennai from 2004 to 2016. He was also the spiritual mentor of BSc for more than 12 years during his stay at Chennai. Swami Ji then joined as one of the Acharyas of the Monastic Probation Training Center at Ramakrishna Math, Belur, West Bengal for a couple of years. Presently, he is also associated with Vivekananda Samiti, IIT Kanpur as a spiritual mentor. So without any further delay, I would like to request Swami Ji to address the audience. Please note that we will have a question answer session at the end of the talk. Please post your questions in the YouTube chat section. Swami Ji.
Thank you, Dhirendra, for your very crispy and short introduction. And my thanks to Shubham and to Ankit and Shank Mukherjee and all others who are involved in this and the VSC team. Before proceeding, let me begin by making pranama mantra to Sri Swami Ji. Om Namah Shri Atirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukha Swarupaya Swamine Tapaharine. Good evening, everyone. I'm very happy to be with VSC again. My association with VSC is for now more than a decade and a half. Since 2004, I have been interacting with our VSC group. First, when I was at Chennai for 12 years, as Dhirendra pointed out, and later off and on whenever I visited the campus or now through the online lecture. So when this idea came up that we'll have a special lecture this Sunday, it's always a pleasure for me to be with VSC and do whatever little I can for our young friends. So when this idea came up, we were thinking what I could share or share my views on, or we could take it as a subject. At that time, one of the friends suggested that something related to Viveka Chudamani. Now, Viveka Chudamani is a large text, and taking it up and for discussion is a huge task, and not for one lecture. So I thought, let us begin by just understanding what is Viveka. So that's how we have framed today's subject, which is Viveka, a young aspirant's perspective. The word young is very important here which means a beginner, a person who has just approached the word Viveka, who is trying to understand various aspects of Viveka and how Viveka is different from ordinary thinking. Ordinary thinking, which consists of many of the functions of the mind, like you have doubt, you have vacillation, you are shilly-shallying, you are not clear as to what is to be done, or you have to decide certain things. So those are the basic things that we all experience. But Viveka is something different, something deeper. So it is Viveka, a young perspective, a young aspirant. So it's not just a beginner, but he's an aspirant also. Aspirant after something higher. So the word Viveka in itself is a very spiritual term, but when we say aspirant, means a sadhaka. In this word, as far as my understanding concerns, everybody is a sadhaka. The word sadhaka means one who is an aspirant. But here we are specifically saying it is a spiritual aspirant, which means he is Adhyatmika Sadhaka. So Sadhaka is one who is aspiring. So there could be various types of aspirants. You could be an IAS aspirant. You could be an aspirant for MBBS degree. You could be an aspirant to get something you aspire for. So you work for that. You do sadhana, which means you work for that, and then you attain the sadhya or the end. So here the end is and how do I gain by exercising my power of Viveka? How do I gain some spiritual direction and finally the spiritual goal of my life? The word Viveka means vivich. It comes from a root word called vivich. So vivich means to separate. Two things get mixed up, we separate them. That's called Viveka. In a very simplistic way, the term may be two things or three things have got mixed up. Like if you take up those of you who have done cooking or seen your mother or others doing cooking, you see when they make rice, you take rice, put it in a piece of plate and take and carefully see through whether there is anything which is non-rice. It could be a piece of stone, a piece of straw, or a piece of a dead worm, something which is not rice, and you throw it out. This process of separating the rice from the non-rice, so to say, or something which we know we want and something which we know we do not want. So that is called Viveka. Acharya Shankara, I made some notes before I thought I'll speak to you. I made some notes, I'll make use of them just to put my thoughts together. Acharya Shankara has written remarkable commentary on the Bhagavad Gita. And in second chapter of the Gita, he makes a statement. He says, Tavat eva hi purusho yavad antakaranam tadiyam karya vishaya viveka yogyam tad ayogyatve nashta eva purusho bhavati. Meaning is, a man remains a man as long as his mind retains the capacity to discriminate between right and wrong. When this capacity is lost, he ceases to be a man. So we are human because of this capacity to discriminate. Now, the word discriminate again is English translation of the term Viveka. And it has been so for a long time. We have the Viveka Chudamani as translated as the crest jewel of discrimination. This was a term which even Swami Ji has also used, the word discrimination. When you read the complete works of Swami Vivekananda, you find that Swami Ji is using this term off and on. Similarly, we find in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, the word Viveka appears in the original Bengali, and Swami Nikhilananda Ji has made translation as discrimination. So that's there for several decades. The term discrimination is there for several decades. But during its march of events, the word discrimination also has got a negative connotation also these days. We hear of the racial discrimination in South Africa or elsewhere. It could be anywhere. Some discrimination based on one's racial background. So again, there are other types or contexts in which the term discrimination has been used. So one of our Swamis, he used to say, maybe we should now think of replacing the word discrimination with another English word, which is also very indicative of its true meaning, which is discernment. Discernment means to see and take it aside. Okay, this is it. I discern it. I carefully go through a content of a text. It's called discernment. So discern, D-I-S-C-E-R-N, or discernment, is another way of understanding the term Viveka. So Vivicha Dhatu, which means to separate. So I translate it as a discrimination or discernment, whatever. It simply means that I separate the things. In other words, it could also mean that it is a special capacity of the human intellect. They say, it is a famous verse which says that when you make a comparison between an animal and a human being, you find that common things. Ahara, Nidra, Bhayamaitunam cha. These four things are common. Ahara, eating; Bhayam, that is fear; Nidra, you have sleep; and Maitunam, procreation. These four things are common between human beings and animals. So what differentiates these two? What makes human beings so superior, as we say? So there are, this verse has got two versions. In one version it says dharma, which makes the difference. So dharmena hina pashubhis samanaha. So if you don't have dharma, you are as good as a pashu, an animal. And another version of the verse says buddhya vihina pashubhis samanaha. So word buddhi here comes, which means the power of discrimination, or power of viveka. So this power of viveka is to be, if a person doesn't have, he is an animal itself, which means he has other functions. His buddhi is working for other things, but he's not a human being, truly speaking. So we have people who are even very well educated, people who hold very respectable degrees without having much of viveka in the higher sense. This also let us keep in mind. So the term viveka is different from the ordinary thinking, which consists of doubt or vacillation or shilly-shallying, as Hamlet says in Shakespeare, to be or to not to be. This is the point, which means he is in a state of doubt. But viveka is not about this. So viveka is a special type of thinking. It is not just thinking. It is a special type of thinking. For instance, it's a very small little joke, but very indicative of what I mean. So it is like there was a villager who would sit outside his room, outside his house in the village, and watch the cows or the big buffaloes returning from grazing in the evening. There was one particular buffalo with a huge, very expansive horns. And it used to think, it used to walk across him, and the man used to think, oh, here is a horn, such a huge thing on this buffalo's head. How nice it would be if I go and sit in between the two horns. There's something very funny. But one day he would every day think over it, and one day when the buffalo was passing in front of the house, he jumped up and tried to sit between the two horns. And buffalo, like any other animal, reacted in fear and self-defense and threw this man and ran away. And this man was badly bruised and crying in pain. He came to his house, and as he sat, his wife asked him, "Arey, what happened?" He said, "What happened? This is what happened." He had explained. Then she said, "Arey, kuch soch to lete. We should have thought something." He said, अरे पगली 15 दिन से सोच रहा हूँ. I have been thinking for 15 days that I should do this. So this kind of thinking in itself is not Viveka. Just you go on thinking about something is not Viveka. So what is Viveka then? So they say, now Viveka is characterized by three important characteristics. This kind of thinking has three important aspects. First of all, Viveka is always possible only when you have Shraddha or faith or respect or regard for something higher, a higher value. Then only you can do Viveka. Without Shraddha in something higher, what discrimination will you do? That whether I should go for something higher or should I go for that which is lower. So it's obvious that we always want to go towards higher. So it is always a journey from lower plane to higher plane. It is not the other way around. It is not that you are the higher plane and you do your journey and come down to the lower plane. It is always from the lower plane of thinking, lower values, lower system of principles or mindset to higher principle of mindset. So that is one aspect, very important aspect. And you cannot really go for something higher unless you have faith in that. You cannot simply rush towards something higher saying, yes, it is good. You should have faith, you should have respect, you should want it. So Shraddha is a very important thing for a higher value to become operative. Second thing, it is between two known things. So there are two known, maybe they are poles apart, but two poles of experiences. So I take what is wrong to that which is right, but I should have an idea that this is wrong. This is not going to lead me to something very lasting. So Viveka is that special type of thinking. It's just not thinking. Let me repeat it again and again. It's not just thinking. It's a special type of thinking. See, Swami Vivekananda, when he was young and he had become, associated with Sri Ramakrishna, he started interacting with him, and there was a great spiritual change that was happening or manifesting in him. He would say that when I was at that stage, sometimes two images used to appear before me. Now, Swami Ji was a very talented, very intelligent, very exceptional person. He was a young man. So he said two images used to appear before me. One is the image of a very well-to-do person, full of career options. So career, he would have got a very good job or very good placement in today's language, or a very good place and position in the society with lot of riches and lot of things around him. And the other things that would appear to him was that he would have become a monk. So these two things would appear to him, and he would often find his mind is tending towards becoming a monk. So this is kind of Viveka. The second aspect of Viveka, that two things are known to me. Like Buddha. In Buddha's case, we find that it's not that he lacked something. He was a king. It was not an escape from the responsibilities or from the situations of life. As a king, he had everything. He could get whatever he desired. But he made his mind go on Viveka, so to say. And there he found his mind tending towards something higher. And third aspect of Viveka is that it is not just thinking, as I said, you must have Shraddha for something higher. And second thing, you have that, both the poles of experiences in which you are discriminating. And finally, you also have the third aspect, which is, it is determination. This is Nishchayatmika. Viveka is Nishchayatmika, which means it is related to buddhi. It is connected to buddhi, which means a sattvic buddhi. You have got the sattvic buddhi, or buddhi which is very pure. You have in the Bhagavad Gita a description about what is sattvic buddhi. So we all know buddhi. In our terminology, hello, is it audible?
Yes, Maharaj, we can hear you.
Right. Yes. So in the we have the term buddhi. We all know. We sometimes say he is a very buddhiman purush. He is a very intelligent person. But in the Bhagavad Gita, we have another approach. See, generally we think of IQ, very high IQ he has. So that's one way of understanding buddhi, and that is, this way of quantification of buddhi. We call it logical quantifications. We call it IQ. Of course, later on, EQ or emotional intelligence also has come, because somebody may be very high in otherwise logic. He could be good in mathematics or solving physics or chemistry equations, but his emotional quotient is very poor. He does not know whether his words or his actions will hurt others, or how he could improve himself, etc. That sensitivity is not much developed. So we say he's poor in EQ. But here in the Bhagavad Gita, besides these two aspects of buddhi, there is the logical thinking, the IQ, and the emotional side of the thinking, which is the EQ. We have another approach to the whole idea of buddhi. It is three types of gunas which are influencing the buddhi. Three types of gunas. What are they? First is that we have got the sattvika guna, another is the rajasika guna, and third is the tamasika guna. I'll just read the first one. What is sattvika guna? When the sattvika, now these three gunas, again, let us go to one step behind and say, what is this gunas? So the basic principle which we in the Sanatana Dharma believe is that everything in this world, right from this whole gross world that we see, and the subtle forces of life, or the thinking or emotions or choices that we make in life, or the faculties that we have, everything that we have is made up of these three gunas, three qualities, or three forces: sattva, rajas, and tamas. So the sattvika force, when it influences the buddhi, which means the buddhi is now very manifest because it's sattvic force, then what is the manifestation that you find in the buddhi? The 30th verse of the 18th chapter says, pravrittim cha nivrittim cha karya karye bhaya bhaye bandham moksham chayaveti buddhi sapartha sattvaki. That which knows the paths of work and renunciation, pravrittim cha nivrittim cha, right and wrong action, karya karye, fear and fearlessness, bhaya abhaye, bandham moksham, bondage and liberation, that intellect, O Partha, is sattvika. So the intellect which is sattvika intellect, that intellect really is what we can call the state of Viveka. But when the state of Viveka or the buddhi is affected by not sattva, but by rajas and tamas, other two forces, which also have a place in the society, in the whole scheme of creation, what happens? I'll not read the Sanskrit, I'll just read the English. It says that when you speak of the rajasika, that which has a distorted apprehension of dharma and its opposite, and also of right action and its opposite, that intellect, O Partha, is rajasika. Which means the apprehension or the understanding of dharma is distorted, and also of what I should do that also is distorted. Why? Because of the influence of rajas. Rajas means what? Rajas means intense activity. Intense activity actuated by desires. Desire for self-aggrandizement, for self-glory, for enjoyment of things of the world. That is very essential part of the Rajasika. There is a whole section on what it means when you are influenced by Rajas. In the Gita you have got 17th and 18th chapter, a lot of verses on that. So here it is dharma and karya. These two things are very much influenced by the Rajas. So Rajas is greed, jealousy, anger, or all those things which are violence. These are all manifestations of Rajas. Sattva on the other side, the first one is full of peace, serenity, joy, sense of harmony, equanimity. So that is the one side, and this is the second side. And the third one is the tamas. And the tamas, when it influences the buddhi, what happens to buddhi then? So that which enveloped in darkness regards adharma as dharma and views all things in a perverted light, that intellect is tamasika. So tamasika intellect is unfit for real viveka. So in other words, when I'm speaking of understanding a young aspirant's perspective about what is viveka, what I mean is, in simple terms, is that we should cultivate a sattvika intellect. By sattvika intellect means the intellect which is purified. Now this is very different from intellect. Generally, because in our present system of education, we say he is very intelligent, medhavi. We are not speaking of a sattvika intellect. We are just saying he is medhavi. He is very tremendous intellect is there. He has power of retention of whatever he reads. He can think logically. He can think very fast. He has creative thinking, etc. But in viveka or in rajasika, sattvika buddhi, it is a purified intellect. This is what we speak of. The Sanatana Dharma speaks of this, that you have got the purified intellect. What is purified intellect? It says the intellect which is freed from egoism, from strong attachments and aversions, from the ignorance of the real nature of life and of Atman. When that part of the intellect is purified, then you have got clarity of things. That is why in the traditional gurukulas or the system of education that we thought of, each disciple or student or a seeker was given the Gayatri mantra. And Gayatri mantra we have that you have prayer for purification of intellect. Dhiyo yo naha prachodayat. May my buddhi be, my dhi, my sense of discrimination be purified. May it be awakened. Which means it is not be affected by or influenced by the other things like egoism. Why are you having the ego? You are egoistic about what? We always have some, something to stand upon. Why are you so egoistic? Because you have some wrong thing to stand upon. Acharya Shankara says, Ma kuru dhana jana yauvana garvam harati nimeshat kalas sarvam. Ma, do not do any garvam, don't be egoistic, don't be proud of dhana jana yauvana. Dhana means money, jana is people, and yauvan is physical beauty and strength. Why? Why should I not be proud of them? Harati nimeshat kalas sarvam. Within a minute it can simply go away. All our youth may be simply destroyed if we meet with an accident, which may leave us mutilated, or some disease may come in. Even young people can be identified with this cancer. There is no such rule. The other day I was talking to a gentleman who was very perturbed, a middle-aged couple, because their only son, not only son, there's another son. So the son was sitting next to them, and suddenly he collapsed. Why? Because they went to the doctor, took him to the hospital. He said he had a massive heart attack. It was 27 years. Think of it. It's nothing something exceptional. These things keep happening all over the world. What will science say? We don't have any. We have only imagination. We say it is metaphysical question. It is philosophical question. So it is here that we have to listen to what the scriptures say, what the Kathopanishad is telling, and there he says there are two types of things: Shreyas and preyas. Shreyas means ultimately good for me, and preyas is that which is same. So we have to, when you are speaking of Sukha Dukkha Viveka, we are seeking that which is Shreyas. Shreyas means that which is ultimately beneficial for me. It may be immediately not very beneficial for me. I may find it difficult. I only say this much, quoting from this. When we speak of the Sattvika Sukha, it says, the Bhagavad Gita says, that which is like poison at first. So Sattvika Sukha may be poison at first, but like nectar at the end. That happiness is of Sattvika nature. And what is Rajasika? That which arises from the contact of objects with senses. At first, it is like nectar, but at the end, it is like that which begins and results in self-delusion, arising from sleep, laziness, and miscomprehension. That's called Tamasika Sukha. So this is the first type of Sukha in Akarya Viveka, which is Sukha Dukkha Viveka. The first thing is Dharma Adharma Viveka. What is Dharma? Dharma means a term that is will be very understandable. What is virtue? What is duty? What is which we should do? Swami Vivekananda has spoken. People say, I will follow that which my religious book says is to be the Dharma, virtue. So the other person's religious book differs from this person's religious book, and there is a quarrel. So there is again, the word Dharma or duty is very relative. So if a person takes a pistol and he's at the border and he shoots somebody on the other side who is an enemy, who's trying to violate certain things and try to intrude into his country, and he will be awarded something for his gallantry. Whereas the same person with his pistol goes to the public in his colony and shoots somebody down, he will be immediately arrested for the crime. So what is morality then? So Swamiji's definition is that unselfishness is morality. Ultimately, it is, if you go by what is dharma and adharma, and you will not be able to immediately find the answer. So it's a very long discussion, but to make it short, we say it is unselfishness ultimately which determines something which is moral or not moral. So in the Karya Akarya Viveka, we have these two aspects, Sukha Dukkha Viveka, Dharma Adharma Viveka. So we are understanding the various types of Viveka. This is the first type of Viveka that we have discussed. Then we have the second type of Viveka, which is Nitya Anitya Viveka. Sri Ramakrishna often speaks of it in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. And to any young person with a little common sense, a little thinking, he sees Nitya and Anitya Viveka. What is Anitya? Is that which is not Nitya, which means which is not eternal. And we sometimes, when we see things which are, this will sustain forever, but it does not happen, if we are not careful, this may also lead to some kind of a negative thinking. Oh, everything is gloomy, ultimately it's going to end. Everything is changing. Sarvam dukkham vivekinaha. Oh, it is all dukkha everywhere. You can be and you may get into that negative type of thinking. You may say, oh, it's all very dark, gloomy, ultimately we are all progressing towards grave, it's all going to be dust. As it is said in English, after the game of chess is over, the king and the pawn will go to the same box. This is all very negative about. A negative view may develop. So you should be careful about it. Nitya Anitya Viveka is to see that things are not permanent. That's it. It's not to conclude there is nothing that which is permanent. There is. That will come to the next type of Viveka. So what is that? In the Shankaracharya is one of the famous Shiva Paradhaksha Manastotra. He says that Ayu Nashyatam Patidinam Pashyatam. That I see every day that life is shortening. That every day my Ayu is becoming less and less. My age is becoming less. So if somebody is celebrating his 25th birthday, it's wonderful that he has become 25-year-old young man, but it also means that 25 years of his life are over. It also means we do not know how many more years are remaining, but a very precious 25 years are over. So, this kind of thinking, clear that yes, there is anitya that is happening. Everything is changing. This is one type of Viveka. Second type. The third type of Viveka is now, which is actually the beginning of the spiritual Viveka. It is known as Drik Drishya Viveka. The word Drik means witness, one who is seeing, Drik. And Drishya, that which is being seen or being perceived, Viveka. So we have a small little text by Acharya Shankara. It is known as Drik Drishya Viveka. There he begins by saying, let us do a little Viveka, separate. It's again journey from the lower to higher. A journey from that which is changing to that which is not changing. So you have got the Viveka when you see something, that who is seeing? The eyes are seeing. When the eyes are in proper condition and there's a proper light and proper distance between the objects. This is also very important. And there's a proper distance. So I may be sitting here, but I can't see something which is 5 kilometers away. I can see maximum a kilometer. The human eye range is 1 kilometer. But even that, to see it clearly, it must be within the proper vision scope. And finally, not only that, there should be an object, and there should be eye, and there should be light. There should be no obstacle in between. There should be not a building in between that I can't see it. So that is the first thing, that my eyes see it. And who is seeing? Eye is seeing, things are being seen. Sometimes I look at my own senses and say, oh, my eye is having some trouble. So which means I am different from my eye. I am different from my eye. Who is this eye? This discrimination, this is trying to locate the real eye, going deeper, analyzing and exploring into the depths of our being is also a very important part of understanding of Viveka. So Drik Drishya Viveka, that which is real is the Drik, and that which is unreal is Drishya, which means it is not there forever. And then further, even Sri Ramakrishna speaks of it. Finally, if I speak of the word Viveka, we could also say that Holy Mother Sri Sharda Devi used to quote this. She would say this. Somebody said, she says, if somebody realizes the Atman, he has the experience of the self, or he experiences God, what happens to him? Does he develop 2 horns on his head? Which means, does he become something special? No. He only develops Sad Asad Viveka. The difference between Sat and Asat. Now, Sat and Asat, it almost looks like Nitya Anitya. The word Sat means real, and Nitya also means that which is always there. And Asat means that which is not real, and Anitya means that which is changing. So it almost looks like that. So we might possibly further, in a very spiritual sense, transform this term to mean Atma Viveka. Atma Anatma Viveka. What is Atma Anatma? Atma is that which is always there. The word At is a root term for Atma. Atma. So you have got the idea that there is something within us which never dies, which is never born either, which is eternal. Not only that, it is eternal existence, it is also of the nature of consciousness, and it is nature of infinite bliss. That is why we are all seeking bliss in life. Whether you are Indian or non-Indian, whether you are a student or non-student, whether you study in IIT or you studied in a local college, or you are a man, woman, officer, anybody, irrespective of whatever we are, everyone is seeking one thing, and that is happiness, joy. How we seek it, is the only thing that differentiates us. So a person who develops Sat Asat Viveka or Atma Anatma Viveka means that he is one who has reached the state where he is trying to reach that which is eternal. See, Mirabai, the great sage from Rajasthan, she would say, she loved God like it's called in English, it's called the bridal mysticism. So the aspirant believes himself or takes himself to be a bride. So this is very common among even the Christian tradition, in the Islamic tradition, the bridal mysticism. So Mirabai, she would say, I want such a husband, such a mate, which never dies. Which means he's seeking the eternal. How can you get a mate which will never die? We know everybody whom we get is having a lifespan and will die. It could be 100 years, it could be 150 years if he is very healthy and some factors work, but he has to die. But when it comes to seeking that which is eternal, there is no death there. So Sat Asat Viveka is to seek the Atman which is ever present in us. So these are the four types of Viveka which I just spoke of, which is Karya Akarya Viveka, Nitya Anitya Viveka, Drik Drishya Viveka, Sat Asat Viveka. And as I said in the beginning, it's a journey from the lower to the higher. So we must have faith in that which is higher. And this faith is generated by, it's very difficult to say how the faith is generated. There are multiple factors, subtle or very invisible or unseen factors, which generate this faith in us. They say sometimes when you go to the places of pilgrimage, like a person going to Kashi, going to Vrindavan, it kind of releases Shraddha in you. Shraddha is as if tied up because of so many arguments, so many things which are fallen on your mind. And when you see very devout pilgrims or people living their lives, or temples, or you in presence of some divine atmosphere, it creates a sense of Shraddha in you. So Shraddha is generated, so to say, by purification of mind. This purity of mind, which means freeing the mind from strong likes and dislikes, from our lower tendencies, is what is at the core of the whole understanding of the power of Viveka. If we want to develop this power of Viveka, simple thing is that we have to strive to keep our mind free from all banal or lower type of influences. So again we return to the famous prayer, Bhadram Karane Vishrunuyama Deva, Bhadram Pashyemakshabhiryajatta. That may I see that which is Bhadram. My intake of my thoughts should be Bhadram, should be good, should be noble. Now thoughts are not just by reading. When you watch something on YouTube, you chat with somebody, you go on thinking of something again and again. We are consuming things from the social media,
or from books or from conversations, all that has got influence on our mind. So always we should say, filter out that which is negative. Filter out. So now negativity, as someone said, is characterized by three things. One is criticism, another is complaint, and third is comparison. Keep away these three things. Comparison, all the time comparing. You are happy, but somebody else says, oh, let me be, he's better than me, he's better placed. So we make wrong comparisons. We make very comparisons which are driven by jealousy or by desire, to keep that complaining thing away. Similarly, criticism. Very uncharitable remarks we tend to pass. Gossip about people. Try to find faults with them. This kind of criticism, whether open or very little and deep within, behind a person's back, this is also a characteristic of negative thinking. And all the time complaining. A person does not want to take responsibility for his situation. He always wants to put the things on others. You know, there's an interesting 20 years ago, I read in Reader's Digest. The two friends, they were talking to each other and said, both are scientists. He said, no, you know, I have discovered a new type of computer which is very much like human beings. His friend asked him, oh, what is human about it? Can it write? He says, no, it cannot write. Can it think? Oh, no, it can't think either. What do you think what's human about it? The human about it is, whenever it makes a mistake, it puts the blame on others, on other machines, or other systems. So that is the way we human beings seem to work. We complain, we don't want to take responsibility. I'm not speaking of the positive side of complaining. There's a negative complaint and there's a positive complaint. There is certain place for all these things, even comparison, even rightful criticism, rightful comparison. Everything has got a place. But we often just use them for our negative tendencies of the mind. We should be very careful not to use it for our negative tendencies of the mind. So these are the, this is what I would like to now conclude by saying that a young person's perspective of Viveka, of the power of Viveka, or how we generate or use this power of Viveka, finally gets summarized in a few things. That it is a journey from lower set of values to higher set of values, between what is right and wrong, what is dharmic and what is adharmic. But it all begins with purification of mind. As much as we learn to purify the mind. So the word purity, again, you must try to understand, it is related to the inner mental purity. Freedom from greed, anger, jealousy, lust, and all that which makes us forget our divine nature and makes us feel only that we are this body and the mind. That we have to purge our mind of that. And it can be done by yoga, which either you do by karma yoga, or you do it by bhakti yoga, or raja yoga, or jnana yoga. Either of these yogas, and reach the goal of human life, which is to discover the eternal self present within all of us, or to discover God. If you put it in the form of the language of bhakti, it is finding my eternal beloved. Whether whatever language we use, language of emotion, language of intellect, we are finally seeking the same thing. So these are a few thoughts I thought I'll put before you about discrimination. Now, thank you very much for listening. Now, if you have any questions, you're welcome. Hello, Shivam. Hello, Shubham.
Thank you, Maharaj Ji.
Hello, Shubham.
Is it audible?
Maharaj, this is Devanjan. Devanjan is also a joint coordinator, Maharaj.
Oh, Devanjan, okay. Hello, Devanjan.
Namaste Maharaj. Is it audible now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Thanks Maharaj for this very enlightening talk. We'll now proceed to question and answer session. Some of our viewers have shared their question in the YouTube comment section. I'll be reading them one by one. First question is, Maharaji, what is mean by Antakarana and
Should
how to be?
Just be on, just hold.
Yeah. Yeah.
Devan,
Yes. Please come up with your question.
Yes, Maharaj. Dhirandaji, continue.
continue. Namaste Maharaj. The first question is, what is the mean of Antakarana and how to be aware of it to discriminate?
The word Antakarana is a Sanskrit word for mind. But traditionally, Antakarana is that which is inner instrument as it translated into English. That is of four types. It says Antakarana. So what are the four aspects of Antakarana? First is it is Chitta, then the Manas, then Buddhi and Ahankara. These four faculties which all of us have. So all of us, whenever we perceive something, the Antakarana has started functioning that way. So when we say purification of Antakarana, it basically means to begin with, if you take Chitta, we have certain, it is a memory which is kept there. It has all the things of the past which are preserved in it. So let us try to purify the memory section by getting in good holy memories. So that is Chitta. Chitta Shuddhi happens by getting such influences or such exposures, which will, first of all, we'll experience, and that will leave a good memory on that, which will counteract the bad memories or bad tendencies. That is one aspect of Antakarana Shuddhi. And second is the Manas. Manas means power of imagination. Let us not imagine, let us not indulge in any fantasies which are of any impure type. Let us try to experience that which is very pure, which is of very which will finally lead to the purification of the mind. And third is buddhi. The buddhi, again, as I said, that you purify your power of will. Buddhi also refers to will. So I have the will or power of discrimination, which is finally it determines things. So this determination part of it, which is Nishchayatmika, we should try to purify. And finally, the ego part is the most toughest part. The ego part is that at least we try to, we cannot completely get rid of the ego, but let us try to reduce it to its size. Let us always keep it aware that our ego, we try to take everything to our credit, but whatever we do is actually a result of so many other factors other than us. Suppose a person has very successful career, he should not think that his hard work is the only cause of his success. There are so many social factors. They say success itself is a social phenomena. When a person wants to buy a new car every day, suppose he has got enough money for that, he wants to buy a car because there are people who will say, "Oh, you are having a wonderful car," which means there should be some admirer, which will give satisfaction to his ego. So it's a social phenomena. So the ego is again reduced by constantly thinking that this is, assuming the attitude of a dasa, of a servant, or trying to deny the very presence of ego by strong discrimination. Whatever path we take up as per our capacity and the state of growth, Antakarana basically means As your question is that Antakarana is purification, our mind, the mind has to be purified. This is an Indian approach to mind, which is very different, in some sense, is very different from the Western approach where the mind is treated differently.
Thank you, Maharaj. I hope viewer will be satisfied from this beautiful answer. And now the second question is, if a person is knowing that what dharmas he should perform, but unable to walk on the same path due to mental hurdles like doubt, procrastination, etc., what should be done?
Yes, this is one thing which is a thing which is coming to all of us again and again. Throughout our life, we face this question: what is dharma and what is adharma? We know, but we are not able to follow what is dharma. Janami dharmam nachame pravritti. Nama janami adharmam. I know what is dharma and what is adharma, but I'm not able to follow that which is dharma because I have doubts, I have mental hurdles. So the best way is to cultivate our inner life. Now, how do we cultivate? As you cultivate your inner life, your will becomes strong. It becomes released, so to say, from the clutches of lower samskaras. When the will becomes released from the clutches of lower samskaras, the will always go in the right direction. A person will always go towards the dharma. So Sri Ramakrishna says that a person who is an established dancer, an accomplished dancer, such a person would never make a false step in his dancing. In the same way, when a person has become perfect, his mind will not be caught by the things of the world. So to attain that stage, let me begin with little steps. I always find that instead of taking very huge strides, let us take small steps. Maybe I am not very clear as to why I am not able to follow dharma. So let me make some small change. Maybe I make a decision, for instance, that I will always keep my promise to others and promise to myself. And before making promise, always think well whether you are going to make this promise, whether you are going to do it or not. As Mahatma Gandhi used to say, man of truth must be a man of care. A person who wants to make slow changes in life, little by little you make changes. You begin with these small little steps. Similarly, don't take unrealistic goals. Oh, I have heard Swamiji's lectures. It is good to meditate every day, so I must get up in the morning 4 o'clock, and you sleep at night at 2:30. What an impractical way of doing things. So let us make proper promises with the due care. So this is how we can make beginning of purification of Antakarana. And
Thank you, Maharaj, for the enlightening answer. And now the third question is, how introspection can increase the power of Viveka?
now, one thing before I go into it, introspection just does not mean that I go on mulling over things. Introspection is not just go on mulling over things or go on. Some people have some negative experience in life and they go on thinking of that again and again. Some traumatic experience, something which disturbed them, and they keep pishtapeshanam, it is called in Sanskrit. Pishtapeshanam means that you have already made flour out of the wheat, but you are not satisfied with that. You take that flour and you further make flour out of flour. That's not introspection. So introspection is, as I said, it's a journey from the lower to the higher. So you find out, you discriminate, you differentiate, there is a lower value. I must give up that lower value. And I must take up to that which is higher value. Why I'm not able to take up? Oh, maybe this is my attachment there, or this is my strong aversion here. Remember, the strong attachment and aversion are two sides of the same coin. So I have some strong aversion to something, which means I can't withstand. Whereas the idea, I can't withstand it. Whereas the ideal thing would be not to react at all. So introspection reveals to us what we want or what we are supposed to do. Dharma, dharma, viveka. What we should do in a given situation. Dharma, it changes from place to place, from situation to situation. The dharma of a soldier is not as the dharma of a doctor. So that's a huge word in whole of the Bhagavad Gita and Mahabharata is speaking of various aspects of what is dharma. So only this much to say in short that introspection means that I spend some time, think of the divine that is present in me, think of how I can manifest the divinity within me, then think of how I am having that inner light, let me express it, and bring my outer life, my external life, in coherence with my inner aspirations. That is what finally uh, introspection should lead to.
Thank you, Maharaji. One question is here. Uh, follow your heart. Does it mean follow your passion? Please clarify, Maharaji.
Yes, follow your heart, follow your passion is often quoted as to what path one should follow, which is true also that we should follow our heart. But then, if you take it at a very gross level, then everybody follows his heart. Even the criminal may follow his heart. Follow your happiness, pursuit of happiness. In the West in 1960s, this became a cause of a lot of trouble. This kind of a slogan, which said that you should you pursue your happiness, whatever comes, whatever you like to pursue, you pursue. So follow your heart, but you should be very much guided by, or it should be influenced by dharma. I may have some lower tendency, and I might say that I am following my heart. No, I should be careful about that. But having said this, the next step as to what I should say when I say following my heart, it means I should try to not change my track as I'm following it. I've chosen a path. Let me follow it. Let me not do half. Sometimes we come across situations of people who are where they do half thing and then they leave it. It is said, a Sanskrit verse says that who is a wise man? A wise man is one who, first of all, he does a lot of thinking before doing something. He is very practical. He weighs things properly, whether I can do it or not, whether it is good for me or not. And second, having started it, having taken it up, he does not leave it half done. He completes it. So follow your heart, but be guided by dharma.
Thank you, Maharaji. Let's take one more question and then we will conclude the session. And for any further questions, we request the audience to fill up the Google form using the link provided in the description section. The last question is, Maharaji, people normally dwell in Tamo or Rajaguna. Then should all the choices they are making is wrong? What his intellect is saying or guiding his subconscious is wrong?
What's the last part of the question?
What his intellect is saying or guiding his subconscious is wrong.
Okay. So as I understand it, yes, it is true that most of us are influenced by rajasic and tamasic tendencies. And when we are influenced by them, we make mistakes. From the viewpoint of dharma, from the viewpoint of higher life, we make mistakes. But this making mistakes also is part of experience. By burning our hands, we will learn when not to burn our hands again. So sometimes our intellect does make mistake, and these mistakes also become our teachers. Teach us, I don't do that next time. It's very important. It's nothing wrong if you make mistakes. What is important is that you should not repeat the mistakes. If you are repeating, which means you are not learning from your experience. We must learn from our experience. And our experience should make it finally this I must do and this I must not do. So Viveka should come into play, or introspection should come into play. That is it okay for me? Is it dharmic? Is it leading to higher thing? Is it leading to Shreyas or preyas? Think well. You will find your own answers. Sometimes, we could take the help of our own Ishtadevata to arrive at right discrimination. Pray to Lord, I don't know what is right and what is wrong. Please guide me. So I pray to God, I pray to the higher reality. Please guide my intellect. So you will find this happening in the lives of all great sages. How Swamiji would pray before going to the West, how he prayed, "Oh Lord, show me the way," and how before he took up making of the Ramakrishna mission, he sent prayers to the Lord, "Oh Lord, please show me the way." You find this mentioned in his letters also. So we should always see that even if we are influenced by Rajas and Tamas, Rajas and Tamas have got their place. Please remember it. Absolutely sattvic person will not be able to uh, carry on. Our body is not designed for that. Sri Ramakrishna had such a sattvic body, they say, he could not sleep for more than an hour. If we try to imitate him, we will go mad, which means we'll lose our sense of balance. Let us know wherever we are. So even the sattva and the even the tamas and rajas have got certain role. Our our rajas, our strong tendency, passion to do things must be guided by our sattva. That is what ultimately we should try to do.
Thank you, Maharajji, for the enlightening talk and enlightening answer. I'm sure all the participants must have benefited from today's session. We once again thank everyone for attending this session. We hope we will share the same bond in the future session as well. BSc Facebook Insta page link is given below. Please follow our social media pages to receive updates about BSc regular activities. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Wish you all the best.
Thank you, Maharaj. Pranam, Maharaj.
Namaste.
Yeah, all right, Devendra ji and Bhavik ji.